Welcome, everyone, to this first episode of the Foresight presents Putts and Pints. I'm your host, Colin O'Brien, and I will be bringing you news, notes, and a little irreverence about golf and my other favorite passion, craft beer. The whole idea of this is going to be, we're going to be talking about golf the way golf should be talked about, over some nice, tasty brews. So, Happy New Year to everyone. It is January 1st, and I just, to help usher that in, the beer of choice for today's episode is a Sierra Nevada Celebration. I thought that would be rather appropriate. I'm going to have a sip of that right now. Lift a glass. Cheers, everybody. Man, that's good stuff. So, when we're looking at 2015, it seems appropriate that we should start with predictions for 2015 as it relates to the PGA Tour. So when I'm looking at that, the first thing that I have to get something off my chest here before we even get started with that is the problem of calling it the 2015 season, because you can't do that anymore. For a couple of years now, the PGA Tour switched so that after the Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup was decided, the tournaments for the next couple of months that used to be kind of ways for guys to get a tour card for the following year, if they finished high enough or what have you, but it was always for the following year, and now they've started with the PGA Tour has it so that if you win one of those tournaments, that counts towards FedEx points for the next FedEx Cup, and also as far as It's got a dash now, which I don't like. It used to be, it was the 2015, this would be the 2015 season. Now it's the 2014-2015 season, despite the fact that they only play about 3 or 4 tournaments in the 2014 that carry over into what is naturally the full-blown season there. Case in point as to why this is kind of an oddity, and also it's something that just bugs me, is that next week is what would be the opening Tournament of Champions, and so now you're going to have the Tournament of Champions. It's going to be, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 tournaments into the 2014-2015 season, and that just doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't make any sense. So regardless, I'm going to look at it as 2015. I'm going to look at it the way I want to look at it. And so 2015, it's prediction time. So fore-sights from the foresight. You like that? So as we look at it, we'll break it down into a couple of quick categories. Who's going to be comeback player of the year, who's going to be player of the year. I always like to keep an eye on what I think are going to be, I look at the majors the way that most everybody does. It's like if there are 4 Super Bowls, obviously, it's like, if there's 4 times to watch, this is what you want to do, and there's such a big part of it that's why I end up talking about that a little bit more in depth. And then also I like to pinpoint, for those who have read the Foresight over the years, I also like to pinpoint who I think is going to be the breakthrough major winner. I'm still yet to get it right in the actual year that I've been making that prediction. I've had a history of calling it a year early. I did that with most in particular. I did it 2 years in a row with McIlroy and then Keimer. I said this is the year they're going to break through, and it wasn't that year; it was the following. Apparently I jumped the gun a little bit, so we'll see if that holds true again with the pick. I'll start with comeback player of the year, and this one is, as a prediction, is probably a no-brainer. I'm predicting Tiger Woods is going to be the comeback player of the year, and the reason it's a no-brainer is because at any given time, even when he wasn't per se playing great, he still had a 5-win season mixed in there. So now he's looking at this new old swing. He's trying to fit himself back into his swing in some way, and then he's got the new coach, but he's not a coach this time. He's a consultant so that it's Tiger's really he's taking responsibility for his swing, for his game, for his approach, and this guy Chris Como that he's got in as his consultant. Now we're looking at somebody who is essentially trying to keep him from getting hurt. Is my basic understanding of it. It's yes, he'll help him with the if something is going mechanically wrong. But I guess the real point of what they're trying to do together is create these movements and these training exercises and swing positions and thoughts and that sort of thing that all lead to Tiger not having to go through all this injury plague stuff that he's gone through, essentially since 2008. As far as his swing is concerned, this I think is the best thing he's done. So the one time we got to see the new old swing come out was at the Hero World Challenge at his tournament. He didn't play great, but it was also his first tournament back from really settling his back up, and the swing looked really fantastic. And his short game was a disaster, but I don't know what to make out of that. It was just one tournament, and so it's tough to tell, if that's going to be a recurring trend. He's got plenty of time to work on that, and I'm sure has been working on that, because that had to be more than embarrassing. Just chili dipping chips and pitch shots, like at a course he's played 2,000 plus rounds at, and that sort of thing. So it's there was something wrong in there, but the swing itself looks phenomenal. His flexibility looks back to when the 2000s and that sort of thing, where he could just comfortably make a really long, aggressive turn at the ball. And he was really, when he was unloading on it, he was really unloading on it, and it was accurate. And when he did miss, it was only in one direction. It was only left, which was a huge concern on the side of things. When he was with Foley there, it was a two-way miss. He was missing right, he was missing left. He had no idea where he was going. And nobody can play quality golf like that. So I'm going to quick sip of the Sierra Nevada celebration here before we move on. So comeback player of the year, Tiger Woods. I'm looking at this as if he really settles into the old swing and gets that comfort level back into what he's doing out on the golf course, so that he doesn't have to think about anything mechanically, which is what he never said it, but I really think that was a huge problem under the Sean Foley tutelage. Was he was thinking about it while he was out on the course, and you can't play golf like that. And it kind of speaks for itself, his what he was able to quote unquote accomplish while he was with Sean Foley. So I could see that. I could see that leading into, if you pick up a couple of quick wins at those places that you're accustomed to winning at early in the year. He's won at Torrey Pines however many times. It was, I think, including that U.S. Open that he won in 2008, that was like 7 or 8 times in a row that he won there. You've got Bay Hill. He's won a bunch of times at Bay Hill. Those kind of places to kind of get it rolling and to maybe feel like he's playing the way he used to. He's getting those wins the way he used to get those wins, with a familiar ball flight, and get aggressive with it. And know that if you miss, you're only going to miss to one side. I think if that leads to a couple early wins, we could be looking at, come April, you could be looking at him going into Augusta as the favorite. And that's a place where he could win. And, that could be, major number 15, and then who knows what happens from there. So, I would be hard-pressed to believe that, from what I saw as far as his comfort level with his swing, like right out of the gate there at that Hero World Challenge, that he's not going to at least pick up a couple of wins. And I would not be surprised if it was, 3, 4, and 5 like he did that one year. And if one of them's a major, it's like there's no reason. I mean, a couple of wins, he's comeback player of the year. That's a no-brainer. Quick sip of the beer here, and we will do the breakthrough major winner. So breakthrough major winner, the quick pick would have been Ricky Fowler, and I didn't go with him though. I went with Jordan Spieth, and I'll tell you why. Ricky Fowler, I mean, I should have picked him only because of the season that he had last year when it came to the majors. He finished in the top 5 in all 4 majors, and Tiger and Nicklaus are the only 2 to ever do that in a single major season. And so Ricky, he places in the top 5. He actually tied Mickelson's low aggregate scoring record from 2001 in the 4 majors. Oddly enough, neither of them had won a major in that year. But the idea is that Fowler placed in the top 5 in all 4 majors, but he didn't win any of them. And actually, in his career, he's only won once, if we really look at it. So Spieth has been on tour for 2 years, has won 3 times, including this, if you count this most recent Hero World Challenge. Fowler's won once in 6 years. I just see Spieth as being the guy that, as opposed to Fowler, he's on a very quick learning curve. When he gets in situations where he gets close to winning, he's learning from that when he doesn't come out on top. And then when the opportunity presents itself again, he closes the deal. And that's how he got into the previous year. He got into the FedEx Cup standings. He was playing and he had to win a tournament for his points to count, and he went from whatever he was not eligible, and then he wins at the John Deere Classic. And he had so many great finishes, so many top 5s, top 3s up to that point, but hadn't broken through with a win. And then he gets that win at the John Deere, and he's kind of been off and running ever since. This past year he was in the final pairing at the Masters, and that's one of the key things that I'm looking at, is that he put himself in that position, and he's not the guy that puts himself in that position and doesn't come out on top and then goes away. He's the guy that learns from that and wants to get back there and close the deal the next time. Ricky Fowler, I just don't see that killer instinct. And he played great. He played himself into the top 5 again in all 4 of those majors. It was a couple of second place finishes and stuff like that, but it was a second place to Martin Keimer in the U.S. Open by 8 shots. It was never his tournament, and it never really felt like it was his tournament. He did some great things as far as keeping himself in those top 5, top 3 spots. He made some clutch putts, that sort of thing, but he didn't make anything that was going to put him over the top. And he also had a couple of just really loose, really bad swings at clutch moments. I forget what hole it was. It was coming down the stretch, though, at the PGA when he's playing alongside Mickelson, and Rory's in the group behind them. And they get up to it was a par 4, I believe, and Ricky is just, he hits it so far right, it seemed like it was 2 fairways over. And it was just, that was the moment, and I look at somebody who came close a lot, like a Dustin Johnson, and that's the miss. It's just, all of a sudden, it's just blocked. You didn't release the club at all, and the pressure got to you. And that was the key, I guess, to that, and why I bring it up, was that was the 4th major. So this was the 4th time that he had been in this position to, potentially win, or, if he's the only guy that's got a shot at it, or whatever the case may be. That was the 4th time. And that was the worst shot that he hit in any of those 4 tournaments. It was just, that's where I just don't see it happening for Ricky. I don't see him closing the deal, as it were. But on the other side of that coin, and why I picked him is Spieth. It just seems like anytime you think he's doing something a little too fast, too young, he's too young to be doing this kind of stuff, he just turns around and shows the maturity of, I learned from that, here we go, I'm closing the deal. So I'm looking for that to be the breakthrough major winner. I'm not gonna say which one. I think he could win. He's one of those golfers. He's just a solid player from top to bottom. There's not a huge strength of his game. There's not a major weakness. He's just solid. So I think he could win anywhere.